choose this competition law because an interesting one. One reason Indonesia is the first country who have a competition law in the ASEAN countries. And we have experienced for 15 years, but after the 15 years, probably some problem, some benefit we can reach for this competition law. I organized my paper as opposed by phones when we discuss it from the airport to this hotel, and directly I divide in 2 chapters, 5 parts. One is triggers or drivers factors. The second one is the role of regulatory management in Indonesia. The third is the critical success factors, problem, and probably some conclusion. In the first one, I think in the reform for drivers, one is low competitiveness index of Indonesia. We realize it in the 80s when you open the economy, and also lack of efficiency in the economy. The second one is concentration of the economy activities in a very small number of the entrepreneurs in Indonesia. And the third one, the economic crisis that hit Indonesia very badly. And fourth, the corruption is very intensive in Indonesia. And the more interesting one is a pressure from the IMF, because I have to state that we don't understand what is the competition law before. We understand the anti-monopoly, not the competition law. And the other is anti-monopoly, or competition law is seen as an important tool to achieve the efficiency in the economy. But regulatory management in Indonesia, I think we don't have need the policy to create equality and to reduce economic disparity between people around, because Indonesia is very large, from one part to another part by region. The second one is the lack of area and implementation of the regulation. It's depend to the, I have to say that, to the implementation, whether it's a ministry, whether it's a governor, and something like that. And Indonesia has a law on how to create the law. We have it since 2004, and we have the new one, 2011. Indonesia also has a law, hierarchy law. So the question was how the regional government prefecture to the region one, they have a regulation on that. But we don't have an oversight body or institution to look to evaluate the implementation law. So when decided to adopt the competition law, maybe in Indonesia the competition is a dirty work. I have to say that it's a dirty work for Indonesia, because we don't need the competition, we need the harmony. There's no difference in Indonesia at the time between the harmony and the competition. So it's the step when I'm forced to some extent in Indonesia to apply the competition law. And then the critical factor of success of that, we don't like it at the competition law. Most people, I have to say, I have to confess, don't understand what's the competition law itself. The key success is a credible organization or implementer. It's my experience. I am a member of commissioner in the first period for the 6 years, and I understand it. What's the competition law? We just at the first time learn it. But we have, for example, the member of competition commissioner at the time mostly has the position in society. So people trust us. We have a 9 members at the time. People trust, and based on the trust, you use it to support from the media. So the success factor of Indonesia is supporting for the media. And when implemented, the first question is how to implement it. So this approach is most important at the time, and to choose what is the case. To give the priority and to choose the case is the key factors. Take it for example, we understand that one of the most problem that people will support the competition law is implementation of the competition law is if there is benefit to the mass people. This one. So we just took the bid rigging. So we fight with the government official because if you know the case in the competition in Indonesia, mostly 78% is the bid rigging one. The first one, take it for example, with Ministry of Transportation is our victim, I think in the first year. But how to do that? To open the market in the transportation, we discussed with the ministry in a closed room, this Indonesian style. So we fight in the room, nobody knows. But we say, if you don't agree with it, let's bring it to the people, let's bring it to the press, let's bring it to the society. By discussion, by convincing the government official, they open it. But you see now Indonesia is very crowded. If you go to the airport, it's mostly crowded because it becomes cheaper. And then you say create a problem. You go to Surabaya, you go to Jakarta, you go to Medan. You know the flight is to increase rapidly. And the other is the success is a public education to the people. We have a lot of seminar. I put the data on there. For example, this activity in the public education of the people. We have a seminar working with the university, working with the government official, just to educate the people. I think the key success is how to educate, to change the behavior of the people. In the first 6 years, we done it. And the most important one, the key success, independent of the implementator. At the time, the government asked us to join the commission. Not we propose ourselves, but the government asked and the parliament asked for that in the first 6 years. But after the 6 years, there's a second generation intervened by the political power in Indonesia. So independence is reduced to some extent. And the second, because you look for the harmonization with the political parties. In the third generation, I think the third term is become influenced fully by the political parties. So you see the result will move up and down after that, after the third generation. And this is the problem, I think. What is the problem, as I mentioned? One is clarity of the goal. The clarity of the goal of our competition law is becoming a question because multi-purpose goal. This one, and a very weak support from the president, from the government. Weak coordination among the department or the ministry about the competition law. Lack of capable human resources, not in KPPU, but also in the judge one. You know, in Indonesia, it's very difficult to find a judge in the district court who understand the economy. They train in law, very good one. But if you talk economists, you know, they see the number, they get headache on that. It's true. One, and the weak point is some of the provision in our competition law is very weak one. And also, they force the limit time to solve the case. For example, the KPPU, the implementer has only 150 days to solve the problem. And the district court, if they appeal to the district court, the time is only 30 days. And if they appeal again, or KPPU appeal again to the Supreme Court, is just only 30 days. So how to make a good decision, I think it's depends with the time. And the other is all over the competition agency, I think, understand a limited budget. But we just feel it a limited budget, especially to educate or to improve the people involved in implementing the law. Maybe a very interesting one, if you look the productivity of competition authority in Indonesia. From 2000 until 2013, we have a case to the district court. I mean, decision by the KPPU, challenged by the party to the district court first. We have 106 cases, and out of that, 92 appeal again, whether by a competition law and the other parties. Is about 92. But you can see the result, 61% of the decision by the district court is supporting the decision by the KPPU. And about 58% is 70% of the case submitted to the Supreme Court is just supporting the KPPU decision. So you can see, I say the KPPU or commissioner success to some extent in Indonesia, because they bring a new law to the application, whether the public hate it, I think is a success story one. And the other, if you look the public education, as I mentioned before, is very differently. And why the government official become target of that? If you look the cost, the personal cost of the government is about 25% of the budget, central government. And then look at non-personal, is government of women, and the other is more than 70 to 80%. We have a study at that time with the corruption body, about 40 or 30 to 50% out of the non-personal is corruption. So we see at the time, we give the priority to the bid rigging. If you can reduce it only to 50%, it means you can increase the salary of the government official to more than 50% without change the budget. It means the economy will move, I think, without change the budget. So the effect is very good. So now, by the experience of 50 years, by implementing, I think, unperfect law, as I have to say, the unperfect law, I think now people just, or public just ask, with the new law, with the amendment, this one, then in the other conclusion, we need the human resources from KPPU, from the judge and one. And I think public education or public advocacy are very important factor for the successful implementation of the regulation. This is the point I have to learn, but also I have to add. Now the regulation of the law number 5 is put in the prolegnas. It's national, and they discuss it these years. We are worried, really, like in the first 5 years, we know the weakness of the law. But if we propose it to the parliament at the time, we are worried it will be changed drastically. Changed with no direction. Now also, we are still worried whether the member of representative this year can discuss it first, and the second, whether they can discuss it properly. I am a former member of the commissioner. I am really worried because until now they didn't understand what is the really meaning of application of the competition law. Thank you for your attention.